It's a cold autumn Thursday evening in the United States, and it's time for high school football.
Timeout for 6.
The band plays, the cheerleaders leap and chant, and hundreds, and in some cases thousands of fans huddle together to watch their town's teenage gladiator. Next weekend, millions of people around the world will watch the Super Bowl, American football's glitzy conclusion. And perhaps very few among those millions will be thinking about a shadow that's hung over the sport for decades. Collisions have been a celebrated part of the game, part of what makes it such a spectacle. And knocks to the head have been long regarded as something to be shaken off, if not ignored, even though those knocks can lead to brain damage, dementia, and even suicide.
Riley Burnside intercepts, touchdown Bears.
It's not just the massive hits in the pro game that cause the damage. There's growing evidence that boys as young as 5 or 6 who play tackle football are susceptible to chronic brain damage. And now parents are deciding that they don't want to put their children at risk. I'm Bill Littlefield, and I've been reporting on the link between playing football and severe brain injury for over a decade. For the documentary on the BBC World Service, I'll be asking whether the domination of this sport is now coming to an end.
I called him, and he, it was 10 a.m., 10:30 back home, and he was already just completely inebriated and freaking out, felt like he was hearing voices and didn't understand what was happening, and kept saying that it was never going to get better. He didn't know what to do, and that he was sorry, and just felt like he was going out of his mind. That is terrifying to hear, especially when I can't be there to try to calm him down physically. But I just told him to pull over and that it was going to be fine and just try to calm him down. And I got him calmed down for a little while. But it was later that night when he was, still drunk and still freaking out that he attempted to commit suicide.
He was Zach Easter, a 24-year-old from Iowa who played football for his high school team, the Indianola Indians. Allie Epperson had been Zach's girlfriend since high school, but now she was away at college. Did he feel like football had anything to do with this?
He knew football had everything to do with it. It was around this time that he really started looking into CTE and got really scared because he realized he knew 100% that that's what he had. It was terrifying for him.
What type of player was he?
He was a hard player. He quickly found out that, if he used his head, he could take down any player, and no matter how big the other one was, and that proved to be correct. He was wild on the field.
When you say used his head, you mean he would go into people head first?
Yeah, literally using his head. He's in some of the journals and things he left us, he said himself he learned to use his head as a battering ram.
Throughout Zach's high school career, he suffered concussions and other lesser head injuries. For a few years after he graduated, he kept a journal. 39 pages of his thoughts and experiences, a sad chronicle of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts.
September 2015. I'm scared. If I can't get help or feel better, I may just want to end it all. As in suicide. I'm just so tired of feeling so shitty and anxious. I had a job interview, 2 of them, and it's hard for me to not have panic attacks. It seems like I still can't get over my anxiety. I don't know. Life's just a bitch. I'm trying to forget that I'm mentally ill. I might have a traumatic brain disorder.
Tell me about the text that you got from him in December and what happened after that.
He wanted to get better. He knew he wasn't going to. So that day we had just spent the day together. I was home after finals for winter break, and we had plans to hang out that night, go to dinner. But he hadn't really been feeling well, so I just took him home. And then, we were just communicating. We started having a serious conversation again about what he was going through and how he was feeling, and kind of just the history of our relationship and how it had progressed. As the night went on, it was past midnight. It was December 19th. And I got a pretty long text from him, and it was the most passive, past tense text I'd ever received. I knew what he was about to do. At that point, I tried to start calling him, and get a hold of him and contact his family, and my friend put me in his truck and we rushed back home. But it was on our way home that I got the call from his mom that he had died.
What did he do?
He shot himself in the heart.
It's taken me about 5 months to write all this. Sorry for the bad grammar. I want my brain donated to the Sports Legacy Institute, a.k.a. the Concussion Foundation. I want my brain donated because I don't know what happened to me, and I know the concussions had something to do with it. Levi gets my car. It will need an oil change and brakes and tires done. Please take care of old Red. It will need cleaned out as well because I'm a slob.
He left us several notes. He left journals of his everyday experience with his symptoms the last 9 months of his life, I believe. He knew that we didn't know enough to ever have his life get better, and that there's nothing that could be done. But he also knew that, with his words and the study of his brain, that we could really make an impact